Here we are for our last video in Chapter 11. This is page 725, number 46. Market research. Before bringing a new product to market, firms carry out extensive studies to learn how consumers react to the product and how best to advertise its advantages. Here are data from a study of a new laundry detergent. The participants are a random sample of people who don't currently use the established brand that the new product will compete with. Give subjects free samples of both detergents. After they have tried both for a while, ask which they prefer. The answers may depend on other facts about how people do laundry. Does the sample provide convincing evidence of an association between laundry practices and product preference in the population of interest? A couple things I want to point out before we get started. Hopefully a lot of you guys picked up that you're giving both samples and they're going to try both. So that automatically should have you start to think about, is this a matched pairs design, which it definitely sounds like it is. But we have to go through which test we can be using. Now we've talked about matched pairs before, and we were able to put them together into one. The difference here is we have so many different categories. There's different things that are happening here. So that would be the other thing I want to show before, or think about before we do this. Does the sample provide convincing evidence of an association between laundry practices and product preference in the population of interest? So those are different keywords you want to pay attention to. This is telling us that we have one population where we have multiple categories of things that we're looking at, not just two where we could just do a matched pairs design, but instead 4 different categories that we're looking at. So that's going to tell us to do a chi-square test for independence. So one population of interest, multiple categories. So we have a chi-square test for independence. In our chi-square test of independence, we're going to do the same conditions that we just saw before in the last video. We have a random sample of people who don't currently use the established brand. We have n equal to 354, which is less than 10% of the population who don't currently use the established brand. And we're going to hope that all expected counts are greater than or equal to 5, and I've set up where I'm going to put that in, but I'm going to wait until I do those calculations to be able to fill that part in. So my null hypothesis is going to come straight from the question. My null is that there is an association between laundry practices and product preference for people who don't currently use the established brand, and I'm going to be testing that against my alternative hypothesis that there is an association between laundry practices and the product preference. Now, from there, I'm going to go ahead and put this into my calculator, doing it the same way we did before. So I'm going to go to my matrix. I'm going to move over to edit. Notice I've already changed this. If you hit enter, it'll bring you over here. Because we have 4 categories, that's going to be 4 columns, so you want this to be a 2x4. And then putting it into the calculator, it was 53, 27, 42, 30, 63, 29, 68, and 42. Once I have everything set in matrix A, I press stat, move over to test, go down to chi-square test. I put it in A, they're going to give me my expected counts in B, and I'm going to hit calculate. Now these numbers I'm going to copy down in my answer. Notice I already set up 0.5605 is greater than any common alpha level, so we're going to fail to reject, but I'm going to come back here and fill these values in. I'm going to tell my calculator to take me to matrix B, and then I'm going to put those numbers in. I have 49.81, 66.19, so now I have my expected counts in. We can tell they're all definitely greater than 5. And I'm going to write up my conclusion in context. We do not have convincing evidence that there is an association between laundry practices and product preference among people who don't currently use the established brand. Make sure you go through your reading, know what the formulas are, know how to get these expected counts on your own. There will be questions where you're going to ask you different pieces where you're going to have to understand where those are coming from. But as far as the free response goes, this is the way to do it to keep your timing down and have it be the most effective. But for your multiple choice questions, you need to really make sure you're doing the reading and understanding all those details of where all this stuff is coming from, not just be able to plug it into your calculator. So yes, I've shown you lots of shortcuts here, but take the time to go back through and really understand why these shortcuts work.